Tonight, fears of an all-out war in the Middle East. At least 356 people were killed, more than 1,200 injured in Lebanon as the Israeli military expanded its campaign against Hezbollah. The thousands now fleeing for safety. What Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now says, and the Pentagon's move to send what it says is a small number of additional U.S. troops to the region. Plus, the developments tonight around the man charged with attempting to assassinate former President Trump. Why prosecutors allege the man suspected to be at the center had a month-long plan to assassinate Donald Trump. And
so how many was that? There was about 10 blasts. 11.
We have to go.
Was the gas? There's gas?
The fight to save our last lands. Our Bob Woodruff travels to Ecuador, journeying into the Amazon to look at the threat communities are facing from illegal gold mining and how they can be preserved. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the aftermath following a deadly mass shooting in Birmingham, Alabama, the weapon used that resulted in 4 deaths and more than a dozen injuries, and the reward now being offered as authorities hunt for the killer. Plus, a rare sit-down between Ukraine's President Zelensky and his wife as they speak with our own Robert Roberts about the war with Russia and their own personal perseverance. And the new study out tonight breaking down the human cost of football, with 1 in 3 former NFL players saying that they believe they have CTE, a brain disorder caused by repeated head injuries. We'll take a look at the study and what it could mean for the future of the NFL when we take a look by the numbers. But we do begin with that dangerous escalation in the war between Israel and Hezbollah and the major concern tonight about a wider war in the region. Israel issuing a rare and urgent warning to civilians to flee southern Lebanon. This came as IDF forces conducted 1,300 airstrikes on Hezbollah targets. Officials in Lebanon say nearly 500 are dead, more than 1,600 injured just today. This is the moment one of more than 1,000 airstrikes slammed into a neighborhood in southern Lebanon. A dash cam captured a rocket landing in front of one vehicle. No word on that driver's fate. While in Israel, Israeli defense intercepted Hezbollah rockets over the city of Haifa. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports from inside Beirut in a moment, but we begin with ABC's chief global affairs anchor Martha Raddatz reporting from Israel tonight.
Tonight, the Pentagon sending additional military forces to the Middle East out of an abundance of caution to protect Americans at risk, fearing the exchange of missiles between Israel and Hezbollah may descend into all-out war, with Lebanon reeling after the deadliest Israeli airstrikes in that country in nearly 20 years. Israeli fighter jets roaring across a wide swath of Lebanon, aiming at an astonishing 1,300 targets in what they called a proactive offensive operation against Hezbollah, leaving nearly 500 dead and well more than 1,600 injured, according to Lebanese officials. Apocalyptic scenes on the ground.
Oh my God.
Residents watching in horror, filming as their neighborhoods burn. Hours earlier, Israeli officials sending text messages and radio announcements urging civilians in villages occupied by Hezbollah to leave immediately for their safety. But there was little time before the missiles began to fall. This dashcam video capturing the moment one explodes. Traffic snarling along the main highways, families loading into trucks, hoping to find safety in the capital, Beirut. The Israeli Defense Forces accusing Hezbollah of storing munitions in civilian homes, claiming these videos show what appears to be a cruise missile hidden inside these collapsible walls. Already, Hezbollah launching counterattacks, more than 250 rockets, some hitting near Haifa, the country's 3rd largest city. The Israeli cabinet declaring a special situation nationwide.
Lots of widespread concern about those images. Our chief global affair anchor Martha Raddatz is with us now from Tel Aviv. And Martha, how concerned are U.S. officials about this conflict escalating into an all-out war?
Well, Linsey, we already have 40,000 U.S. troops in the region, including a carrier strike group at sea. But there is deep concern tonight this conflict could spiral out of control, leaving tens of thousands of Americans needing evacuation. And these additional troops they're sending could help with that. Linsey?
Martha Raddatz from Tel Aviv once again. Thanks so much, Martha. I want to bring in our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who's in Beirut. And Ian, you covered Israel's war with Hezbollah in 2006. What might we expect to see going forward?
I mean, I think if today's any indication, we're certainly going to expect the civilian casualties to climb, as well as probably Hezbollah casualties, because like Hamas, Hezbollah comes from and is part of the local population, especially in the south of the country. That all means also means that they operate and launch attacks, often from urban areas, and that, of course, brings an Israeli response, and so you get these casualties. I mean, Hezbollah has a lot more firepower, fighters, and external support than Hamas, especially from Iran, and that means the damage they can inflict on Israel is much greater. I mean, according to the organization, they're capable of hitting almost anywhere in Israel. Israeli invasions back in the 1980s and the war in 2006 ultimately failed to make Israel safe or diminish Hezbollah in the long term. So I think the question for Israel, what can it do differently to try and make the north of the country safe for residents to return, and what are the consequences for this very fragile, economically desperate country right now? Linsey?
Fragile is the word there. Ian Pannell for us in Beirut. Ian, thanks so much. Our Robin Roberts sat down with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who's in the U.S. for the UN General Assembly meeting. He's looking for U.S. support for what he calls a victory plan to meet the Russian threat.
So your victory plan, does it include, and I know you don't want to get into details until you talk to leaders, but negotiating with Russia, and how can you trust someone?
It's not about negotiating with Russia. No, it's about, like I said, it's a bridge to diplomatic way how to stop the war. The bridge is a plan of victory or victorious plan. It's a strengthening of Ukrainian army and Ukrainian people. Only in the strong position we can push Putin to stop the war, diplomatic way.
Robin will have more of her interview with President Zelensky tomorrow on Good Morning America, and then a special extended edition will stream on ABC News Live Wednesday night and Hulu on Thursday. Now to the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Prosecutors today revealed chilling new evidence against suspect Ryan Ruth, presenting a handwritten letter that Ruth allegedly wrote and dropped off at a friend's house months ago. Victor Kendo is in Florida tonight on what that letter said.
You want to go in?
Keep walking!
Tonight, chilling new evidence tying Ryan Ruth, seen here during this dramatic arrest, to the second attempted assassination of former President Trump in Florida. Authorities say Ruth dropped off a box at a friend's house several months ago containing a handwritten letter, Ruth writing, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you," and offering a cash reward for anyone who succeeded. Investigators say that friend didn't open the box until after Ruth's arrest. Ruth appearing in federal court today. Prosecutors saying the evidence clearly demonstrates a month-long plan to assassinate the former president. Investigators say cell phone data shows the 58-year-old suspect was near Mar-a-Lago and staked out the grounds of Trump's West Palm Beach golf course for weeks. Ruth hid outside the fence of the 6th hole in what authorities today described as a sniper's nest out of a war zone. He was one hole ahead of Trump and estimated 100 feet away from the green Trump was headed to, what prosecutors say would be an easy shot. A Secret Service agent spotting the barrel of an assault-style rifle sticking out of the fence, opening fire. Authorities say Ruth fled.
Victor Kendo joins us now from Florida. And Victor, what other evidence did authorities reveal today?
Linsey, authorities said that they found 6 cell phones inside of Ruth's vehicle. Now, one of those phones, he actually searched for directions from West Palm Beach to Mexico. He will remain in custody, scheduled to be arraigned next week, and prosecutors say they will try to charge him with attempted assassination. Linsey?
Victor Kendo for us in West Palm Beach, Florida. Victor, thank you. Now to the race for the White House. A new national poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris is extending her lead nationally. We are 43 days away from the election. Harris says she's accepted a debate from CNN, but Trump says it's too late. ABC's Rachel Scott reports from Pennsylvania tonight.
Tonight, former President Donald Trump meeting with farmers in all-important Pennsylvania, pushing his plans for massive tariffs on foreign imports, and brushing off concerns from many economists that it will cause prices for consumers to rise across the board. Trump vowing to push his tariffs through with or without Congress.
I don't need them. I don't need Congress, but they'll approve it. I have the right to impose them myself
if they don't. I'd rather get their support. The ones that understand business all support it.
Vice President Kamala Harris claims Trump's tariffs would cost middle-class families $4,000 a year, calling him out at the ABC News debate.
My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month.
Trump now refusing to debate a second time, turning down CNN's invitation that Harris has accepted to go one-on-one on October 23rd, saying it wouldn't be right since early voting has already started.
This would really be late into the election, so I think it would be a very bad thing. I think it would actually be a bad thing for the country.
But Trump had previously agreed to debate President Biden on September 25th, even though early voting would already be underway. In both 2016 and in 2020, he took part in debates in late October. Harris says her opponent seems to be looking for an excuse.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about.
National polls show Harris gaining ground. A new NBC poll has her leading Trump by 5 points among registered voters, 49 to 44%.
Let's not pay too much attention to the polls, because let's be clear, we are the underdog in this race, and we have...
And joining us now is Rachel Scott. Rachel, another new poll shows former President Donald Trump with the edge in 2 key battleground states. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Lindsay, what is clear is that this race is closer than ever, especially in those critical battleground states that could ultimately decide this election. So this is a new New York Times CNN poll. It shows that Donald Trump is ahead by 5 points in that critical state of Arizona at 50%, Harris at 45%. And then in North Carolina, this is a dead heat. Trump 49, Harris 47, well within the poll's margin of error, Lindsay.
Rachel Scott for us. Thanks so much, Rachel. Despite suspending his campaign, RFK Jr. has asked the Supreme Court to restore his name on the New York ballot. A judge in New York had ruled in August that Kennedy could not appear on the state's ballot because he'd misrepresented his place of residence on his nominating petition forms. Kennedy's attorneys argue harm would be caused to the voters who signed petitions to put him on the ballot if he's not put back on it. Further complicating matters, absentee ballots are already being sent out in New York. Next tonight, the FBI is reporting a dramatic drop in violent crime. The latest numbers from 2023 show murder down more than 11%, the largest single-year decline in decades. How's this playing out in the race for the White House? Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has the details.
Tonight, the FBI recording dramatic declines in violent crime, especially murders, which saw the biggest drop in decades. Murders down in 2023, a stunning 11%.
We have data back to 1960s. We've now seen the largest decrease in murder ever recorded.
The new numbers, which are actual crimes reported to police and which cover 94% of the American population and all major U.S. cities, come as crime has been hotly debated on the campaign trail.
You can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get raped, you get whatever it may be.
But the new FBI numbers show, in addition to a dramatic drop in homicides, which are overwhelmingly committed with guns, there's also been a decrease in rape, down 9.4%, and aggravated assault down nearly 3%. Decreases also seen in property crime, burglary, and larceny. The only significant category which jumped in 2023 was car theft, which increased by nearly 13%. But like other crime categories, is trending down this year as well.
The Harris campaign is embracing the new numbers, saying that they confirm the administration's efforts are working. But the fact remains the U.S. is far more violent than other major powers, and crime remains a significant issue for many voters. Lindsay?
Pierre, thank you. The aerospace company Boeing says it has made its best and final offer to union workers on strike. The company is now offering 30% pay increases over a 4-year period, among other offers. This comes after 33,000 workers walked off the job demanding better pay, wages, and retirement benefits. Brian Bryant, the president of IAM, says employees knew Boeing executives could do better, and this shows the workers were right all along. Now to the latest on the search for a suspect in that horrific mass shooting in Birmingham, Alabama. Police believe one of the dead may have been targeted and the others were likely unintended victims. Investigators say the weapon was a gun converted to be fully automatic, spraying bullets like a machine gun. Stephanie Ramos is in Birmingham with the latest.
Tonight, a $100,000 reward now offered as police in Birmingham, Alabama hunt for the gunman behind a targeted shooting in the nightlife district, killing 4 and wounding 17.
I want to make myself very clear on what the priority is. It is to hunt down, capture, arrest, and convict the people who are responsible for this mass shooting.
The gunfire erupting late Saturday night outside a hookah lounge, just minutes from the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Out of nowhere, I just couldn't feel my leg.
Gabriel Islami struck as he stood in line with about 100 others.
I kind of turn around and look back, and you just see a horror movie of a scene.
This video showing multiple victims on the ground. Tonight, the 4 people killed now identified.
This was a targeted, isolated attack.
Police say the suspects were possibly paid to kill one of those victims. Around 100 shell casings collected at the scene. The FBI and ATF now assisting in the investigation.
Stephanie Ramos joins us now from Birmingham. Stephanie, what else are investigators saying about the weapon used in this shooting?
Yeah, Lindsay, so authorities say they are still looking into whether the firearms involved in the shooting were converted to fully automatic weapons using a so-called gun switch, which are illegal. Lindsay.
Stephanie Ramos for us. Thank you. A Colorado shooter that killed 10 people at a supermarket in 2021 has been found guilty of murder. Ahmad Alissa will face life in prison for the killing of 10 people, including a police officer at King Soopers grocery store in Boulder, Colorado. Alissa, who has schizophrenia, pled not guilty by reason of insanity. Prosecutors argue that Alissa was sane during the attack, saying he did not fire the gunshots randomly and showed an ability to make decisions. Prosecutors did not offer any motive for the shooting. Lawyers for Brian Kohberger are asking the new judge assigned to oversee their case to allow him to wear something at his trial other than the orange attire inmates often wear while being held. Kohberger is accused of stabbing and killing 4 University of Idaho students in 2022. Earlier this month, his trial was moved out of the county after his defense attorneys argued it would be difficult to find an impartial jury. Defense lawyers have long argued inmate attire can sometimes make someone seem guilty. Elon Musk is being sued for $15 million by the popular game Cards Against Humanity. The creators of the card game are claiming Musk's company used its land near the U.S.-Mexico border without permission. The suit alleges SpaceX stored construction materials on its property, leading to damages, including loss of vegetation. The game maker bought the land back in 2017 to prevent then-President Trump from building a border wall. Elon Musk has not yet commented on the suit. Still much more to get to here on Prime. Chaos at a rodeo when bulls jumped a fence and escaped through a nearby parking lot. But next, the fight to save our last lands. Our Bob Woodruff travels to Ecuador to look at the threat communities are facing from illegal gold mining.
El oro viene a darnos, en realidad, miedo porque nos van a dejar sin río, sin agua limpia.
Amanda Riley was a mother, wife, speaker at her church. Everybody loved her. She got diagnosed with cancer.
I heard the words, "You have stage 3 blood cancer."
We thought she was God's gift.
When Amanda told me she had cancer, I was so devastated.
A beloved young Christian woman fighting a battle undeserved. We gave our hearts, our prayers.
Everybody put their hands over her and said, "Heal this woman. Oh, God, heal her."
I'm thankful that I have cancer because I am now surrounded by the right people in my life.
There was just something inside of me just saying, this isn't right.
And then all of a sudden, it went dark.
She was a liar.
Why would somebody fake cancer?
Thousands of people threw money at her.
I started donating $500 a month, $3,000, $20,000.
The community raised $100,000.
Everyone's lives has been touched by cancer, and that was something Amanda tapped into. What surprised me is the lengths that she went to fake the cancer.
There's all these pictures of her in the hospital with IVs, tubing.
I could see a nurse in the background.
The information that Amanda gave didn't make sense. These things are not adding up. I don't think she's sick.
Everyone knows. She was being accused of faking cancer.
Everyone knows. I could not believe the level she had taken this scam to.
This is beyond disgusting.
How can a mother do that? This is an absolute nightmare.
She hurt tons of people.
I've never felt so betrayed.
She ripped apart my family.
I'm sorry.
I'm still shaking. Is this normal?
Why would somebody fake such a horrible disease?
It was only a matter of time until Amanda's whole world came tumbling down.
Oh my God!
I was like, ha, you're lying and you're getting caught. This is over. But it wasn't. Not even close.
Scamanda premieres October 9th on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Shohei Ohtani, legends of the game. But now the list of greats redefined. From ABC News, Reclaim the Forgotten League, a side of the story of baseball you have never heard before like this. The award-winning podcast is back. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or scan the QR codes you see here.
ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast. The stars are shining on GMA this week. Kate Winslet, Niecy Nash, Shailene Woodley, and New Kids on the Block on
Good Morning America!
Welcome back, everyone. With Climate Week now underway here in New York City, the race to save our planet is taking center stage as an increasing number of the natural wonders of our world remain under threat. And tonight, we want to take you all the way to Ecuador for the latest chapter in our ABC News Live original series, Last Lands. Our Bob Woodruff looks at the illegal gold trade and how it's impacting communities as the cartels are now getting involved with the lucrative industry.
Es una medicina que se llama yoco. Es una liana que sabemos conseguir dentro del territorio mismo, en la selva. Para nosotros es como un energizante.
This is the Eikhofen Guard. They have lived in their ancestral territory in Senegal, deep in the heart of the Amazon, for thousands of years.
Siempre llegamos a tomar así para podernos ir con mucha fuerza, con ganas, con ánimo a caminar en el territorio.
A través del tiempo, el Estado de forma inconsulta cobijó nuestro territorio y dijo, esto es parque. Jamás consultó a nosotros. Nosotros ya existíamos aquí.
There is growing fear here about land and the rivers.
Le estamos ubicando ese letrero para que la gente que vengan de afuera sepan que el territorio tiene dueño.
Nosotros en el año 2016 hemos utilizado estas cámaras trampas para control y vigilancia de nuestro territorio para personas que ingresaban a hacer actividades de minería, de caza. Entonces con eso nos ayudó mucho también crear una ley propia, porque había muchas personas que estaban queriendo invadir ya nuestro territorio. Aquí como comunidad y como otros pueblos somos vividores del río, ¿no? Donde están nuestros alimentos, está nuestra vida y si permitíamos eso, no seríamos Sinangüe.
¡Guardia, guardia!
¡Fuerza, fuerza!
¿Qué defendemos?
Nuestro territorio.
¡Fuerza, fuerza!
Guardia, guardia.
¿Qué defendemos?
Nuestro territorio.
There's oil here, at times even spilling into the park.
Compañeros, que encontraron ahí. Está la piscina.
Así quiere decir que
Están dos
no
máquinas.
están sacando ni material petri, sino que están sacando oro.
Están oro.
Gold. It's a sign of wealth for some, But here in the water, there is increasing mercury and cyanide from the gold miners who've swarmed here.
Las consecuencias de estas concesiones mineras que estuvieron las mineras, una que ya fuimos identificando peces con enfermedades, ¿no? Con llagas, con tumores en el cuerpo.
This section of the Amazon, which 52 families have called home for generations, became part of the Cayambe-Coca National Park in 1970.
Supuestamente es parque nacional esto, entonces nosotros dijimos, ¿dónde están los famosos guardaparques del Estado? ¿No? ¿Por qué no están interviniendo acá? Porque supuestamente es una reserva, tienen que estar ellos recorriendo, sacando a estas personas, pero en realidad no lo estaban haciendo.
Esta contaminación va a fluir al río. Nuestros peces se van a contaminar y nosotros vivimos de los peces. Nuestros niños se bañan, juegan, se divierten. Y si tenemos un río lleno de mercurio, lleno de cianuro, vamos a extinguir. Nuestra nacionalidad va a desaparecer.
He's not only worried about his people, but the world's climate is also at risk. Destruction of the Amazon, the lungs of the earth. These images from above show you how extensive these mines are, how large and destructive they have become. Forests leveled, lush green turning into churned brown wasteland. For Ecuador, gold mining is not new, but it is changing. Historically, gold mining has been as hard to control as oil drilling. In the last couple of years, because of the rising global demand for gold and increasing profit, criminal cartels are now dipping their hands into all of it. We travel to the south and to the hills of Zamora Chinchebe. There's so many remote areas around here. As we go higher up here in the mountains, you can just see what a beautiful place this is. You don't have to spend much time here when you realize how big mining is in this country and certainly in this area. In one of the small towns not far from here, it's about 70% of all the income is from mining. And they think it's going to go up to about $4 billion in mining trade by 2025. Gold mining in Ecuador has been around for generations. Mining culture is embedded in these communities.
So
this is the mining area that we're going to go to. This was for 20 years illegal, and then back in 2015 it got the legal concession. It's now owned equally by 300 different people. Each of them have an individual plot where they do the mining themselves and taking all the profit for them and their family. So we're going to go up to this spot and see exactly where our host can show us what they're doing. It's been decades since gold could be found on the surface of Nambija. So they now have to dive deeper into the mountains. What is this?
Polvorín. Explosives. Donde se ponen los explosivos.
Just walking down the streets to see where he's doing the mining, and right on the side of the road, the dynamite, big pile of it. Starting to see what this is going to look like, I think.
Esta es la entrada a la mina.
What's in this water?
Drenamos el agua nomás, para que no nos dañe la vía.
So how deep is this tunnel?
Y a unos 600 metros, no es más. Con el carrito minero y lo paramos aquí, la forma como transportamos el material de aquí para afuera. La línea principal. Por estas resbaladeras, baja las piedras con oro y luego cargamos aquí y va hacia la rambla, afuera, a los molinos.
A controlled detonation, hundreds of meters away. Couldn't these rocks just crumble?
Muy firme, muy dura.
They don't crumble. So how many was that? There was about 10 blasts. There's the 11th. We just heard these dynamite blasts down here. I don't think I've ever been in a tunnel like this where it has, because to me it seemed like it was fairly close. But he said it's not dangerous, so.
We have to go.
What's the gas? There's gas? The miners inform us of a sudden gas emission from the explosion. What is the gas? What is it? It starts to fill the mine. In the throes of chaos, Jose gives one last search for gold.
Tranquilo.
Instead of gold,
La piedra que tiene cuarzo.
quartz, a sign miners look for. It means gold could be near. But he will have to wait till the gas dissipates to head back in and find it. Each time, his job becomes more and more of a game. Risk versus reward. After the rocks were ground and washed, filled with mercury, we tracked its flow. This is what the river looks like when it comes down away from the mining. It's just dark brown, obviously polluted with all of the mercury. It's an expanding industry. All that water going back and forth when it comes out of the mining spot and goes down right onto the river. And you start thinking, well, no wonder people are absolutely afraid that this could end up growing inside these beautiful parks.
You can see why so many are concerned. Our thanks to Bob Woodger for that. And you can watch our second episode in our ABC News Live original series, Last Lands, which premieres tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 Pacific, right here on ABC News Live and streaming on Hulu and Disney+. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, the incredible images of a missing girl discovered in the woods and the technology that helped bring her to safety. But next, a startling survey of NFL players. How many believe they have a neurodegenerative disease linked to repeated trauma to the head?
It was a regular day for 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
She went to meet her mom at a bowling church league, but she never makes it into the bowling alley. Something terrible had happened to her. Melissa was a good kid. She had big dreams for her life.
And then she disappears.
My gut knew this was not a young girl who just took off and ran away.
New information into the disappearance of Melissa Witt. Pools of blood were found by detectives.
We were sick to our stomachs.
I just love to have her back more than anything in the world.
It is a heart-wrenching day for the family of 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
Police found the body in the Ozark National Forest.
You had several suspects.
All these kinds of leads. Who could have done this?
You have a known serial killer in your area.
Could he be involved?
Find the evidence, find the DNA profile.
We had to find that person. Time was of the essence.
Every blood spot matters. Every piece of DNA matters. You're looking for that game-changing piece.
We're actually finding key evidence that could have slipped through the cracks.
One of our guys says, you're going to see this.
There's another one.
What could be underneath these headstones? Her last hours on this earth were probably the most horrific a person can experience.
This beautiful young girl. Police will find out what happened.
At Wit's End, the hunt for a killer. Now streaming only on Hulu.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Sex, lies, and a double murder.
2 small children were kidnapped.
Your mom and dad are gonna be right here waiting on you when you get home.
The pleas of Susan Smith captivated the country.
When the twist came, then it completely exploded.
It's one of the craziest stories I've ever heard, and people don't know about it. How on earth could a mother do this?
What kind of mother would kill her own children?
After nearly 30 years in prison, Smith now has a chance at parole.
It's crazy.
Could the woman once dubbed the most hated mom in America go free?
Killer Mom, The Case of Susan Smith, now streaming on Hulu. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food.
It's all coming up on GMA3.
You're gonna love it. We'll see you then.
GMA3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know.
I love that.
Me too.
I'm Matt Gutman in the ruins of Rafah. Wherever the news is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. The NFL and really football leagues at all levels around the country have made strides in the past decade to reduce the number of concussions suffered by players. A new study of former NFL players published today, however, shows just how much potential brain damage retired players might be living with, and that is tonight's By the Numbers. 1 in 3 former NFL players surveyed by researchers at Mass General Brigham in Boston believe that they have CTE, or chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a condition linked to repeated head trauma. Those players were 5 times more likely to report frequent suicidal thoughts and also had significant issues with memory and concentration. From 2010 to 2013, the NFL did expand the list of positions protected from blows to the head by opposing players. But it wasn't until 2022 that the NFL and the Players Association came to an agreement that a player showing signs of a concussion mid-game must be removed and not allowed to return. And this is the first year players are permitted to wear protective Guardian caps affixed to their helmets during regular season games. Those Guardian caps, basically soft pads of fabric, can reduce the force of head-to-head contact by up to 20%, according to the NFL, when both players are wearing them. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Plus, Oscar winner, advocate, and activist Halle Berry becomes a screen queen, and what she says is her darkest role yet. And there's a new viral baby zoo animal taking over social media. Meet the pudgy baby penguin.
There was a specific moment during our wedding. I looked at Jason, I looked at my children, and I realized this was real. That was my husband, and this was our family. We live in a very beautiful place, and sometimes the beauty masks what really is going on. Jason seemed happy. We all just thought the world of him.
This is her knight in shining armor.
Everything felt right. All of a sudden, I found this hidden folder. I opened it, and I don't think I can say it. I'm sorry. I just need a break.
She put her hand to her mouth and gasped. It's shocking, gut-wrenching.
I realized that my life will never be the same. Jason would kill me before he would let me tell anyone this part of him. He is in so much freaking trouble.
My stomach just dropped. I remember just feeling like, what the hell? That was my dad. It did not feel real. It felt so shocking, what is going on?
Never in a million years did I ever think Jason capable of something so horrific. What did I miss?
That's when that fire inside of me shifted to a flame. I was like, it's on. I lured Jason to a public place. The whole police squad pulls up. I hear the most awful sound, blood curdling out of this world scream. And I realized it was coming out of me. I
betrayal is one of the hardest types of trauma to overcome.
Those letters and those apologies were to make him feel better.
Everything that he said was a lie. How could he do this? He just really didn't think I had it in me to do something. So I did.
Betrayal, A Father's Secret, the all-new season, only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live. Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, jaw-dropping. The most powerful stories of our time. Nightline, on right after Kimmel and streaming on Hulu.
It's not about the fear or the danger or the risk. It's about the love of flying.
Every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. It's time to buy the right stuff. And save big time, too.
The Right Stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
We are part of an operation.
Is this our combat operations center?
We're approaching the gate. Militants came in from different directions. Nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag... Not okay, isn't it? How important it made the USA. Great work.
Hi, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ismail? David.
David. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
A state sues an oil giant claiming they lied to the public about plastic recycling, plus incredible drone images of a girl who was found safely in the woods. And there's a new viral zoo baby on social media. Meet Pesto the penguin. These stories and much more in tonight's rundown.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced that the California Department of Justice is filing a lawsuit against ExxonMobil over what Bonta calls the myth of recycling. The lawsuit follows a 2-year investigation initiated in 2022. According to the Attorney General, despite widespread consumer belief that most single-use plastic is recycled, only about 5% of plastics are actually recycled. Most end up in landfills, are incinerated, or pollute the environment. Bonta says ExxonMobil allegedly perpetuated the myth that plastics, particularly single-use plastics, are sustainable and recyclable. Knowing this was false, those findings match what we found in our ABC News Live DuPont award-winning investigation with Matt Gutman into plastic bag recycling at local retailers.
How much of what people think is being recycled actually ends up here at an incinerator?
Globally, the amount of resources that we're able to recover across the whole globe right now is sitting at around 9%.
How much do people think that they're recycling?
I think they think it's a lot more.
In a statement, ExxonMobil casts some of the blame on California officials for ignoring the problem. The company says they have recycled millions of pounds of plastics into raw materials. A rodeo in a Massachusetts parking lot took a turn when a group of bulls escaped their pens. Authorities say the 8 bulls managed to escape their enclosures, run through the parking lot, and jump over a fence surrounding the event's perimeter. The local fire department says 7 of the 8 bulls were eventually corralled. Authorities say 1 bull is still on the loose. A man abducted as a toddler in 1951 in California was found alive on the East Coast. Luis Albino was just 6 years old when he was taken from a park in Oakland, California, and allegedly taken to the East Coast by his captor and raised in a family that wasn't his own. His 63-year-old niece tracked him down with assistance from the FBI and an ancestry test that showed she shared DNA with the man living on the East Coast who turned out to be albino. The family reunited in California earlier this summer. A 10-year-old girl who went missing in the woods of Louisiana was found safe and is now back home with her family. Officials say Peyton Santignon went missing at about 10 p.m. on September 14th after she sleepwalked into the woods near her Shreveport, Louisiana area home. Sheriffs and volunteers searched the woods for days. A drone operator pitched in to help and eventually located the girl using a drone equipped with a thermal camera. Officials say she's unharmed except for some mosquito bites. First responders rescued a driver from her car that was dangling out of a parking garage. Authorities say the driver accidentally accelerated through the wall of the third floor of the parking structure into a tree outside. Firefighters from Coral Gables and Miami eventually pulled the driver out of the car. They were taken to the hospital as a precaution, but expected to be okay. No other injuries were reported. A huge king penguin chick named Pesto has become a social media celebrity and a star attraction at an Australian aquarium. The aquarium says videos of the pudgy penguin were viewed by nearly 2 billion people around the globe. The 49-pound chick is the heaviest baby penguin the Sea Life Melbourne Aquarium has ever had. Officials at the zoo say Pesto is going to lose some of that trademark chub as he loses his brown fur and grows black and white feathers, still cute after slimming down.
We know from recent polls that the economy and inflation are two of the top issues concerning voters ahead of November's election. But in dropping interest rates last week, the Federal Reserve signaled confidence that inflation is firmly under control and an overheating of the economy is unlikely anytime soon. We are so fortunate to have with us the Acting Secretary of Labor, Julie Su, to discuss the direction of our economy. Secretary, so great to have you with us.
Thank you. So good to be here.
So let's start with your bread and butter, employment, economy, employment numbers, unemployment numbers in particular. About a year ago, we're just over 3%. Now we're about at 4%. Is that a concern for you at all?
Today, the unemployment rate has remained at or near 4% for the longest stretch since Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. Most people said we wouldn't even get to 4% for years. And in fact, we got there and we got under that. And the same time, over 16 million jobs have been created in this country. That's the most under any president in the same time period. Again, the prior administration, they had fewer jobs when they left office than when they came in. And so this is an economy that has defied all expectations. That did not happen by accident. Leadership matters, economic policy and strategy matters, and we're continuing to see strong, robust economic growth.
So is there a disconnect with the actual numbers and Americans' understanding of where we are in the economy? Because if you have inflation that's under control, if you have the labor market that's now considered to be stable, why do we hear so many Americans still fretting about grocery prices and the direction of the economy overall?
You know, it's not just the number of jobs that matter, it's the quality of jobs. And under this administration, because we've said, you know, when workers do well, our economy is stronger, our country is stronger. So these are good jobs with secure pay, with unions, with the ability to retire with dignity. And so some people are feeling it. The other reality is, I think, you know, when you ask people how they're feeling, many of them say, well, I feel okay about my financial situation, but not the economy at large, despite facts to the contrary. It doesn't mean we don't have more work to do. We do have more work. You know, some prices still remain too high. But a big part of the reason for that is corporate greed. I think, you know, attacking that problem at its core, making sure that companies who have had record CEO salaries, right now a frontline worker would have to work their entire lives and can't make what the CEO makes in a month. These are the things that people are upset about, and we are addressing those.
And with regard to that, the wealth gap in America continues to spiral, really, when you have the wages of the upper class that are going at such a higher rate than middle class and lower class. Do you see that as part of the government's job to reconcile?
Yes, certainly we do. You know, building an equitable economy where everyone does well, where no one gets left behind, that has been a fundamental guiding principle of the Biden-Harris administration. And we're doing that, right? The historic investments in our communities that are fixing roads and bridges, modernizing airports, making sure that every family that turns on the water turns on the faucet gets clean drinking water. High-speed, reliable internet in all communities. Those are investments that we are making from the federal government that haven't been made in decades, and those are translating into that job creation.
Just to go back to jobs for a minute, union membership is now about half of what it was 40 years ago. Do you see that as an indication in particular of concern?
So we do have, decades of growing inequality to overcome. But in the last 4 years, over 400,000 workers who were not in a union have joined a union, right? This administration and, President Biden has said he has built the most pro-worker, pro-union administration in history. And when unions are strong, America is stronger.
And speaking of union jobs, right now we have about 33,000 factory workers at Boeing who are on strike. What's your message to both sides?
Well, stay at the table. We always believe that collective bargaining works. And I've seen this. I've seen it up close. We've seen it from hospitality to healthcare, from airline attendants to actors to auto workers, that when workers have a real voice at the table, when they have a union, they can bargain for their fair share. And again, that's not just good for them, it's good for the economy, it's good for industries.
Secretary Sue, thank you so much. What a pleasure to have you. Really appreciate your insight and time.
Thank you.
Now to my interview with Academy Award-winning actress Halle Berry and director Alex Aja. Berry has done a few thrillers recently, but is now teaming up with Aja for a return to the horror genre just in time for spooky season. We are joined now by the incomparable Halle Berry and horror film director extraordinaire Alexander Aja. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So let's start with just a little fun. Catwoman obviously came out 20 years ago, and as if cued by the universe, some stray cats just arrive at your doorstep. Tell us what happened here.
Yeah, I am Catwoman. Yes, I really am. We rescued them, got them shots, got them neutered now. I kept 2. I found a good home for the other 2. I caught the mama, spay her, put her back out in the yard. So, yeah. All good.
We're going to get to Never Let Go in a moment, which I'm surprised I still have nails because it's certainly a nail biter, just chilling. But in addition to this role, Mama, that you play on Never Let Go, and Catwoman, obviously, and Babs, and Bond Woman, and, of course, Monsters Ball, which you got the Academy Award for in 2002.
This moment is for Dorothy Dandridge, Lena Horne, Diane Carroll.
Everybody remembers the speech that you were the first Black woman to ever get the Best Actress Academy Award. But then when I kept reading, it was like, wait, and she's still the only. Is that as surprising to you as it is to so many others?
Oh, for sure. I mean, who would have thought? I thought it was going to be the beginning of an onslaught, because women of color, Black women, are so deserving, so. Yeah, it's disheartening. But I also have realized, maybe we put a little too much emphasis on awards. And I'm hoping, at least that's how I've internalized it, because I see Black women, killing the game in the business right now, and the opportunity that we didn't have that we now have. And so I ask myself, would you rather have an award or have a career?
Right. Yes.
So I go for the career.
Well, speaking of the career that continues to expand, Never Let Go. Alex, I want to talk to you about that, but first I want to take a look at a clip.
One touch without a robe on is all it takes to possess one of us and get inside the house. Never let go.
Never let go.
So creepy, riveting, the layers here, everything all at once. Many people are going to remember your work with The Hills Have Eyes. What is it that attracts you to the horror genre?
There is something in that genre that just create another experience. It's not a movie that you watch, it's a movie that you live with your guts. It's a very immersive experience. And I mean, for whoever loved that type of movie, it's just like making you cross the mirror. You're on the other side, especially when you have amazing, actors who can take you there.
And I am wondering what drew you to this role, because first of all, Mama is so complex. On the surface, we think this is just a mom who loves her kids, who's trying to keep them safe. But then as the movie continues on, I started being not so sure about Mama.
Yeah, that's the complexity that he's talking about, and I wanted to make sure we really dug down deep into that, because we really are dealing with generational trauma, and it's kind of what it looks like. It shows up on our Mama. And I also wanted to make sure, as you watch the movie, you kind of have this question, is Mama suffering mental illness, or is this evil somehow real?
But beyond actress, you're also an advocate, activist. Many people know now that you've made this a platform really talking about menopause, which for so long has been really taboo.
It has to be destigmatized. The shame has to be taken out of menopause. We have to talk about this very normal part of our life that happens.
We work with now Dr. Jill Biden working on a bipartisan bill to get more research done about menopause. Why do you think that for so long people didn't talk about it?
Well, it's a conversation that's been hard to have because women have been characterized that after we're done with our childbearing years, they're kind of done with us. Right? And so I think it's time for us to reclaim that narrative. And we need more money to come up with more therapies, more clinical tests, more trials, so that we can start leaning into the woman when she's down this midlife journey.
Well, as a woman who's almost knocking on 50's door, I thank you on behalf of all of us. And Alex, just give us a sense of what you're working on next.
Oh, there's always so many stories to tell and so many other ways to scare the audience. So we are working right now on another crawl, going back in the water with alligators. It's a movie I did a few years ago. And I would love to find something else to do with Ali.
It was such an amazing experience. You don't always work with a director that's always as collaborative as Alex was, and it was a dream.
Hallie, Alex, we thank you both so much for joining us tonight. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, that new tropical threat gaining strength as it moves into the Gulf. Our Ginger Z is timing out the storm that could grow to a Category 3 hurricane before making landfall. The handwritten letter investigators say ties suspect Ryan Ruth to the second attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump.
Hi, my name is Patrice. I am a totally cool person with a disability who could do most anything. Patrice always sees the best side of life.
Patrice is a big magnet for people.
If it can be done, she will do it. I really love Gary. He's everything. I just looked at her and I said, would you like to be my wife?
If you get married and you're collecting a Social Security benefit, your benefit will be cut.
We have to have it. We'd never be able to pay for the bills. I don't take anything for granted. To us. To us.
You're a part-time lover and a full-time friend. The monkey on your back is the latest trend. I don't see what anyone can see in anyone else.
People think people with disabilities have no value.
You need to tell your story, and people can listen and say, this is why benefits are extremely important.
I don't see what anyone can see.
I want to get married. I want to be able to live in the same house as my spouse.
Here is the church and
they can stop us from getting married. They can stop us from living together, but they're never going to stop us from loving each other. This law needs to change, and we're going to do what we have to do to make this happen. Patrice is good at making dreams come true. Who wants to get married? You're something else, you know that? Yeah.
Wait a second, wait a minute. Looks like there's 3 people coming down the river.
These are the last lands.
What is this?
Explosives.
Just heard these dynamite blasts down here.
We have to go.
What's the gas?
The national parks around the world.
This area is all right now cartel-run gold mine
that have to be saved.
Why do so many people start their day here?
This is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories. Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen, wherever you get your podcasts. Start Here. ABC News Live, honored with 8 Emmy nominations, more than any other streaming news network. And ABC News Live Prime with Linsey Davis, the first and only streaming show nominated for Best Outstanding Live News Program. Thank you for making ABC News Live America's #1 streaming news.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Linsey Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, with at least 356 people killed, more than 1,200 injured in Lebanon early Monday as the Israeli military expands its campaign against Hezbollah, the thousands now fleeing for safety. Plus, the aftermath following a deadly mass shooting in Birmingham. The weapon used resulted in 4 deaths and more than a dozen injuries, and the reward now being offered as authorities hunt for the killer. And after more than a year in space, the feeling of being back home on Earth. But we do begin with that dangerous escalation in the war between Israel and Hezbollah, and the major concern tonight about a wider war in the region. Israel issuing a rare and urgent warning to civilians to flee southern Lebanon. This came as IDF forces conducted 1,300 airstrikes on Hezbollah targets. Officials in Lebanon say at least 356 are dead, more than 1,600 injured just today. And this is the moment one of more than 1,000 airstrikes slammed into a neighborhood in southern Lebanon. A dash cam captured a rocket landing in front of a vehicle. You see it right there. No word on that driver's fate. While in Israel, Israeli defense intercepted Hezbollah rockets over the city of Haifa. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell reports from inside Beirut in a moment. But we begin with ABC's chief global affairs anchor Martha Raddatz, who reports from Israel tonight.
Tonight, the Pentagon sending additional military forces to the Middle East out of an abundance of caution to protect Americans at risk, fearing the exchange of missiles between Israel and Hezbollah may descend into all-out war. With Lebanon reeling after the deadliest Israeli airstrikes in that country in nearly 20 years. Israeli fighter jets roaring across a wide swath of Lebanon, aiming at an astonishing 1,300 targets in what they called a proactive offensive operation against Hezbollah, leaving nearly 500 dead and well more than 1,600 injured, according to Lebanese officials. Apocalyptic scenes on the ground.
Oh my God.
Residents watching in horror, filming as their neighborhoods burn. Hours earlier, Israeli officials sending text messages and radio announcements urging civilians in villages occupied by Hezbollah to leave immediately for their safety. But there was little time before the missiles began to fall. This dashcam video capturing the moment one explodes. Traffic snarling along the main highways, families loading into trucks, hoping to find safety in the capital, Beirut. The Israeli Defense Forces accusing Hezbollah of storing munitions in civilian homes, claiming these videos show what appears to be a cruise missile hidden inside these collapsible walls. Already, Hezbollah launching counterattacks, more than 250 rockets, some hitting near Haifa, the country's third largest city. The Israeli cabinet declaring a special situation nationwide.
Martha Raddatz reporting. I want to bring in our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who's in Beirut. And Ian, you covered Israel's war with Hezbollah in 2006. What might we expect to see going forward?
I mean, I think if today's any indication, we're certainly going to expect the civilian casualties to climb, as well as probably Hezbollah casualties, because like Hamas, Hezbollah comes from and is part of the local population, especially in the south of the country. That all means also means that they operate and launch attacks, often from urban areas, and that, of course, brings an Israeli response, and so you get these casualties. I mean, Hezbollah has a lot more firepower, fighters, and external support than Hamas, especially from Iran, and that means the damage they can inflict on Israel is much greater. I mean, according to the organization, they're capable of hitting almost anywhere in Israel. Israeli invasions back in the 1980s and the war in 2006 ultimately failed to make Israel safe or diminish Hezbollah in the long term. So I think the question for Israel, what can it do differently to try and make the north of the country safe for residents to return, and what are the consequences for this very fragile, economically desperate country right now? Linsey?
Fragile is the word there. Ian Panel for us in Beirut. Ian, thanks so much. Our Robin Roberts got a chance to sit down with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who's in the U.S. for the UN General Assembly meeting. He's looking for U.S. support for what he calls a victory plan to meet the Russian threat.
So your victory plan, does it include, and I know you don't want to get into details until you talk to leaders, but negotiating with Russia, and how can you trust someone?
It's not about negotiating with Russia. No, it's about, like I said, it's a bridge to diplomatic way how to stop the war. The bridge is a plan of victory or victorious plan. It's a strengthening of Ukrainian army and Ukrainian people. Only in the strong position we can push Putin to stop the war, diplomatic way.
And Robin will have more of her interview with President Zelensky tomorrow on Good Morning America, and a special extended edition will stream on ABC News Live Wednesday night and Hulu on Thursday. Now to the race for the White House. A new national poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris is extending her lead nationally. We are now 43 days away from the election. Harris says she's accepted a debate from CNN, but Trump says it's too late. ABC's Rachel Scott reports from Pennsylvania tonight.
Tonight, former President Donald Trump meeting with farmers in all-important Pennsylvania, pushing his plans for massive tariffs on foreign imports and brushing off concerns from many economists that it will cause prices for consumers to rise across the board. Trump vowing to push his tariffs through with or without Congress.
I don't need them. I don't need Congress, but they'll approve it. I have the right to impose them myself if they don't. I'd rather get their support. The ones that understand business all support it.
Vice President Kamala Harris claims Trump's tariffs would cost middle-class families $4,000 a year, calling him out at the ABC News debate.
My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month.
Trump now refusing to debate a second time, turning down CNN's invitation that Harris has accepted to go one-on-one on October 23rd, saying it wouldn't be right since early voting has already started.
This would really be late into the election, so I think it would be a very bad thing. I think it would actually be a bad thing for the country.
But Trump had previously agreed to debate President Biden on September 25th, even though early voting would already be underway. In both 2016 and in 2020, he took part in debates in late October. Harris says her opponent seems to be looking for an excuse.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about.
National polls show Harris gaining ground. A new NBC poll has her leading Trump by 5 points among registered voters, 49 to 44%.
Let's not pay too much attention to the polls, because let's be clear, we are the underdog in this race, and we have some hard work ahead of us.
Thanks to Rachel Scott. Now to the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Prosecutors today revealed chilling new evidence against suspect Ryan Ruth, presenting a handwritten letter that Ruth allegedly wrote and dropped off at a friend's house months ago. Victor Akendo is in Florida tonight on what that letter said.
You want to go in? Keep walking! Tonight, chilling new evidence tying Ryan Ruth, seen here during this dramatic arrest, to the second attempted assassination of former President Trump in Florida. Authorities say Ruth dropped off a box at a friend's house several months ago containing a handwritten letter, Ruth writing, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you," and offering a cash reward for anyone who succeeded. Investigators say that friend didn't open the box until after Ruth's arrest. Ruth appearing in federal court today. Prosecutors saying the evidence clearly demonstrates a month-long plan to assassinate the former president. Investigators say cell phone data shows the 58-year-old suspect was near Mar-a-Lago and staked out the grounds of Trump's West Palm Beach golf course for weeks. Ruth hid outside the fence of the 6th hole in what authorities today described as a sniper's nest out of a war zone. He was one hole ahead of Trump and estimated 100 feet away from the green Trump was headed to, what prosecutors say would be an easy shot. A Secret Service agent spotting the barrel of an assault-style rifle sticking out of the fence, opening fire. Authorities say Ruth then fled.
Victor Kendo reporting. Next tonight, the FBI is reporting a dramatic drop in violent crime. The latest numbers from 2023 show murder is down more than 11%, the largest single-year decline in decades. How is this playing out in the race for the White House? Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has those details.
Tonight, the FBI recording dramatic declines in violent crime, especially murders, which saw the biggest drop in decades. Murders down in 2023, a stunning 11%.
We have data back to 1960s. We've now seen the largest decrease in murder ever recorded.
The new numbers, which are actual crimes reported to police and which cover 94% of the American population and all major U.S. cities, come as crime has been hotly debated on the campaign trail.
You can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get raped, you get whatever it may be.
But the new FBI numbers show, in addition to a dramatic drop in homicides, which are overwhelmingly committed with guns, there's also been a decrease in rape, down 9.4%, and aggravated assault down nearly 3%. Decreases also seen in property crime, burglary, and larceny. The only significant category which jumped in 2023 was car theft, which increased by nearly 13%. But like other crime categories, is trending down this year as well.
Our thanks to Pierre Thomas. And now to the latest on the search for a suspect in that horrific mass shooting in Birmingham, Alabama. Police believe one of the dead may have been targeted and the others were likely unintended victims. Investigators say the weapon was a gun converted to be fully automatic, spraying bullets like a machine gun. Stephanie Ramos is in Birmingham with the latest.
Tonight, a $100,000 reward now offered as police in Birmingham, Alabama hunt for the gunman behind a targeted shooting in the nightlife district, killing 4 and wounding 17.
I want to make myself very clear on what the priority is. It is to hunt down, capture, arrest, and convict the people who are responsible for the mass shooting.
The gunfire erupting late Saturday night outside a hookah lounge, just minutes from the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Out of nowhere, I just couldn't feel my leg.
Gabriel Islami struck as he stood in line with about 100 others.
I kind of turn around and look back, and you just see a horror movie of a scene.
This video showing multiple victims on the ground. Tonight, the 4 people killed now identified.
This was a targeted, isolated attack.
Police say the suspects were possibly paid to kill one of those victims. Around 100 shell casings collected at the scene. The FBI and ATF now assisting in the investigation.
Our thanks to Stephanie Ramos. And turning now to the forecast, as a new tropical threat gains strength, it's set to become a hurricane, leading Florida to prepare for a potential Category 3 landfall. Our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, is timing it all out for us. Hey, Ginger.
Hey there, Lindsay. Let's go ahead and start where the storms are right now. It really is just a group of thunderstorms at this point, but that low pressure system will become Hurricane Helene. Once it passes by Cancun, that Yucatan Peninsula with some hurricane watches, tropical storm warnings, the west side of Cuba, looks like it's going to go right through that slit. And then eventually, you see the tropical storm watch up for Key West. We'll start seeing those pop a whole lot more, all the way up the west side of the peninsula into the Big Bend and the panhandle of Florida. Because remember, even when a storm, because we've done it with Idalia, with Debbie, is kind of in that Big Bend or panhandle, a big push of water on the right side comes to Tampa Bay or even down as far as Naples. So we want to keep an eye on that, even if the center is way far north. That cone is just it can go either side. So west side would be Panama City, east side would be Crystal River, and we're going to see impacts well beyond that. So that's by Thursday afternoon or evening. We see a Cat 3 making landfall. Part of the fuel for that, it gets shallow there. This is an area where things can really intensify quickly, but we also have water temperatures 2 to 4 degrees above average, so plenty of fuel there. The only thing stopping it is this upper level low, but that's also the reason and the steering mechanism that will take it inland after it makes the surge, the strong winds, the tornadoes, the flash flooding from Florida through Georgia, and then it's going to take its way into the southeast, and that's where I'm concerned about that inland flooding, not just in Georgia, but South Carolina, northern Alabama, and eventually the low pressure system ends up somewhere close to Indiana or Illinois. So we'll be watching this all the way through the start of the weekend, but the brunt of the impacts will come on Thursday, Lindsay.
Okay, we know you'll be watching it for us. Ginger Z, thanks so much as always. Still much more to get to. Marie Antoinette did not survive the French Revolution, but a necklace containing diamonds possibly belonging to her did, and it will soon be up for auction. Plus, teens today have never experienced life without social media. So how's that shaped their views on life, the world around them, and themselves? Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and photographer Lauren Greenfield takes a closer look in social studies. Our conversation is coming up.
Baywatch is a fantasy.
Baywatch was sexy.
Baywatch was the #1 show in the world.
It was hot.
When you hear that theme song,
I had no idea how much fun I was going to have.
It was addicting. People were just hungry. They were eating that stuff alive.
it was a wild time, and I was a wild chick.
Everyone tuned in to watch the show because you knew you were going to see someone sexy.
I mean, everybody was pretty.
Not just white women can look hot and sexy. Anyone can do it.
Jason Momoa exploded off of Baywatch.
Carmen was a bombshell who had something to say.
Pamela Anderson was an icon.
Pamela was the sweet girl from Canada who came to get the American dream.
I'm really proud of everything I've done. Almost.
Baywatch was a whirlwind of epic highs and bitter lows.
It was a lot of pressure.
They had to wear next to nothing.
You want me to wear this? What?
He with the best abs wins, or she with the best boobs win.
They just wanted to put you under a microscope and see where your flaws are.
Everybody was disposable, and if you didn't fit into their brand, you were gone.
Baywatch empowered me. Every now and then it hurt me. But so do the people and the things we love. I need to take a break, okay?
Greed and lust, fame.
It's crazy.
It changed everything.
It was about pushing the envelope.
Iconic. So hot.
Everyone likes to watch sexy things.
I'm Jacqueline Lee on the red carpet for the 76th Primetime Emmy Awards. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Political unrest continues in Bolivia. Supporters of former President Evo Morales continue their week-long 120-mile march to the capital, La Paz. With the economy in turmoil, protesters this weekend clashed with pro-government forces. Firecrackers, homemade explosives, and rocks were hurled before riot police unleashed tear gas on the crowds. A Soyuz capsule ferrying 2 Russian cosmonauts and American astronaut Tracy Dyson back to Earth landed successfully today in Kazakhstan. The 2 cosmonauts had been on the International Space Station for more than a year. Dyson, half that. They were tended to by medical staff and found to be in good health. Sotheby's will soon auction a rare, intact gold, silver, and diamond necklace created before the French Revolution. Diamonds from the necklace might have once belonged to France's last queen consort, the unpopular Marie Antoinette, wife of Louis XVI. The 300-carat necklace could fetch close to $3 million. From battling bullying, navigating the pressures of constant comparison, coping with racism, and exploring sexuality, social media has changed the experience of growing up for younger generations. And in her new docuseries, Social Studies, Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and photographer Lauren Greenfield captures a group of Los Angeles teens who open up their lives and phones to offer an intimate glimpse into how social media has redefined what it means to be a teenager today. Let's take a look.
Social media is kind of like the only way to communicate.
It's the only way you feel connected to anyone.
I could be myself.
I need a perfect body.
I can't get rid of it.
She was bullied.
That makes you want to beat up somebody.
It doesn't really end.
It becomes everything.
And joining us now is Lauren Greenfield herself. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So social media, it feels like it's infiltrated so many aspects of our lives, young and old. What made you decide, I'm going to do a documentary about this?
Well, in addition to being a filmmaker and a photographer, I'm also the mother of 2 boys. And when I started, they were 14 and 20. And I could see that they were from
completely different generations when it came to social media. The eldest was a reader. The young one got all his news from TikTok, and we had constant battles over screens. And I had been looking at youth culture in my work for 30 years. My first book, fast forward, Growing Up in the Shadow of Hollywood, was about how kids are affected by the values of celebrity and image and materialism. And I was just seeing all of these amplified to the nth degree in the era of social media. So I wanted to go back and look at how kids were being impacted by what I think is the biggest cultural influence of our time.
And were you able to find anything that really surprised you?
So many things. I mean, first of all, the way I did this social experiment was asking the kids for permission to get access to what was in their phones. So as we were filming, we were simultaneously capturing what was in their phones. I think that's kind of a black hole for parents. For most people, we don't know what's going on in there. So there were so many things that were revelatory. I think one of the things that surprised me the most was almost every kid said if they could live in their parents' generation before social media, they would rather have that.
For those who said they'd rather grow up in their parents' generation, what stops them from just turning it off? Is it just that addictive?
It's so addictive. Almost everybody talked about the ills and trying to get rid of it. One of the girls, Ivy, actually goes off of it. Another girl says she knows it's not safe, so she doesn't go on TikTok. They're so smart about the process, the way the algorithm works, the way it affects them. But as Jonathan, one of the kids, says, it's our lifeline, but it's also a loaded gun. It's also the way they communicate with each other, and social life, social identity, being part of a peer group is so important for teenagers too.
Was there anything that you learned that you felt, oh, this maybe is challenging a view that I went into this thinking?
I think I just didn't realize how common some of these things were. Like, I selected the kids based on a variety of experiences, but it wasn't until we were way deep into it that we started talking about suicidal ideation, and I was really shocked how many kids in our small group had experienced that. Same with eating disorders. And then also just in terms of like racism, how people felt more comfortable being racist online. I guess also the way parents were not really aware of what was going on, and so the kids started helping each other. We have one kid who's on a Teen Line listening group helping other kids in crisis. There's another kid who's a vigilante standing up for both people who have been victims of racism and also sexual assault. It's almost like the kids were kind of making their own ecosystem of help in the absence of authority really stepping in.
Just 30 seconds here. What can parents do?
I think there's a lot that parents can do. Also tech companies, also regulation. I mean, every other kind of media is regulated. So I think it's not fair to put so much pressure either on kids or on parents. It's very hard to do this alone and say, I'm just not going to go on my phone. But I think it's great the way schools are starting to say no phones. I think parents should have discussions with their kids. We've made a parent guide and an educational curriculum that can start sparking discussion.
Very smart. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the conversation. FX's new docuseries, Social Studies, premieres with 2 episodes on Friday, September 27th at 10 p.m. Eastern on FX and streams that next day on Hulu. And still to come, 102 years of laughs, friendship, and sisterhood. How these identical twins celebrated their major milestone birthday together. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
Can we have a little fun?
It's showtime.
Everything has led to this moment. Now we have everything we need.
No, not everything.
Haunted.
Get a free demon possession with every exorcism. That's right, Lydia.
Marvelous.
31 Nights of Halloween. Watch all October on Freeform.
September 28th. It's the Global Citizen Festival in Central Park. Coming together to support some of the most important issues of our time with performances by Post Malone, Doja Cat, Lisa, Jelly Roll, Rauw Alejandro, Benson Boone, Ray. Hosted by Hugh Jackman. Saturday, streaming on ABC News Live, Hulu, and Disney+.
Before we go tonight, the sisters celebrating their 102nd birthday together. A major milestone for sisters Marilyn and Madeline of Toledo, Ohio.
Or 2 peas in a pod.
Not just identical twins, they're also best friends, celebrating their 102nd birthday together.
We think alike. Get on the phone, I say, Madeline, I just made a meatloaf. I wish you could be here. She says, I made one too.
Growing up, they were known as the Johnson twins. When they were born in 1922, Warren Harding was president, and the average life expectancy for women was 61. Always by each other's side, from dancing together in 3rd grade to their weddings, dedicating their lives to raising their families, 13 children, 20 grandchildren between them, surrounded by their family this past week, gathering to celebrate more than a century of life.
They're wonderful people. They are, very much. They taught us so much.
Marilyn and Madeline sharing their birthday wish with us all tonight.
We have to tell people, be kind to your neighbor. Just show kindness. Don't hate. Happy birthday to you. Hooray!
Kindness goes a long way. Just take it from Marilyn and Madeline, and happy birthday to you both. That is our show for tonight. I'm Linsey Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, of course, abcnews.com, as well as Disney+. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
Watching America's #1 streaming news. Live reporting, breaking new exclusives. Keep streaming with ABC News Live. ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.
It's not about the fear or the danger or the risk. It's about the love of flying.
The question is, why was Matthew Perry doing ketamine? How did he get it? And who is to blame for his death?
In the case of Matthew Perry, it was kind of the perfect storm.
In September and October of 2023, he was getting 6 to 8 shots of ketamine a day.
5 people, including 2 doctors and Matthew Perry's personal assistant, all arrested.
These were 2 trained physicians.
You feel responsible for Matthew Perry's death?
The suspect's part of a broad underground criminal network.
The focus of this case right now is really on Dr. Placencia and Jasveen Sangha. They are not pleading guilty like the others.
Do you know why she was given the name Ketamine Queen?
She sold 50 vials in 2 weeks to Mr. Perry. They talk about exploiting Mr. Perry. They write, quote, I wonder how much this moron will pay.
Matthew Perry was a money stream for everybody involved.
It is very odd to live in a world where if you died, it would shock people, but surprise no one.
What happened to Matthew Perry? The season premiere of Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu.
Wait a second, wait a minute.
Looks like there's 3 people coming down the river.
These are the last lands.
What is this?